Rockford is home to the oldest African-American community center in the state of Illinois.
The name's changed a couple of times. Its message of inclusion has not. To learn where the center came from, we need to go back a century to a country preparing for war during segregation.
This is Camp Grant right here.
Joyce Higgins has been executive director of the African American Resource Center at Booker for a little more than a year. She's been involved with what used to be called the Booker Washington Center for decades.
It wouldn't have existed if it were not for segregation.
But her knowledge of the center goes back a century.
It's an excitement to tell this history. It's so much of it, you know, and that's the wonderful thing about it. There's so much of it.
That story begins at the start of the Great War, World War I. Rockford's Camp Grant was created as one of 16 cantonments across the U.S. to train soldiers. The camp, just like the country, was segregated.
By November of 1917 to October 1918, a maximum of 13,898 Negro enlistees had come to the Rockford area.
In the 1910 census, Rockford had fewer than 200 black residents, and those enlistees volunteered for service, despite what many prominent black leaders across the country were saying.
Many of them were anti-war. They were like, America is not going to do anything for us. But African Americans still lined up. 400,000 of them, up to 400,000 of African Americans.
Camp Grant created clubs for soldiers to be entertained on the grounds, but also in the community. Those also were segregated. The Colored Soldiers Club formed on this street downtown.
They created this area for the soldiers to socialize, dances, parties, just pure entertainment.
After the war, the Colored Soldiers Club became the Booker Washington Association.
It tells you about a people, right? Not just African American people, but all people, the people who served, to make sure this building still stands.
Tune in this weekend to our Honoring Black History special for more about Booker's connection to Camp Grant, including what that downtown street we showed you the picture of looks like now. And we'll tell you about a project a Booker committee's been working on to keep sharing the story of the center's history. Catch Honoring Black History tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. right here on WTVO, or you can tune in Sunday at 9 in the morning on My Network TV or 10 that night on Fox 39.